How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to Minus the Gym, and this video is going to be about exercises on parallel bars for beginners. And the reason why I'm making this is a video I made about a year ago. I believe it was called 35 parallel bar exercises or something like that. It's doing really well. A lot of people are watching that video, but a common theme that I see in the comments is, hey Ryan, these exercises are great, but a lot of them are way too hard for me. So where do you recommend that a beginner starts on parallel bars? So this is in response to those comments. So not only am I going to show you what to get started with on parallel bars, but I'm also going to explain programming, just like a basic weekly schedule and how to approach all of these exercises. All right. So make sure you watch till the very end. And another thing I want to mention is that the bars that I'm using in this video are called the B bars by Base Blocks. So if you're stumbling on this video and you haven't bought parallel bars yet, I highly recommend these because they are height adjustable, very durable, just really awesome bars. And you can get 10% off with my discount code -10 at Base Blocks' website. So if you're in the market, make sure you keep that in mind. So let's get started with exercises above the bars. And all the exercises above the bars are going to be pushing exercises. And what you want to start with, the very first exercise or progression that you want to really get used to on parallel bars is called the support hold. So to do this, you want to stand between the parallel bars and you want to grip the bars and you want to press down. You want your whole shoulder girdle to sort of move downwards. You should feel your head kind of moving away from your shoulders as the shoulder girdle moves down. We call this scapular depression because your shoulder blades actually slide down a little bit. And as you do that, you want to feel that you come up on your tippy toes and you want to try to lift those legs up. Bend at the knees, lift the legs up, and get into this position called the support hold where your feet are off the ground. Now, there is a more advanced version of the support hold where you're in a hollow body position, but don't worry about that for now. Just concentrate on getting your toes off the ground so you're holding yourself up with straight arms above the bars. Everyone always asks, how many sets, how many reps? I'll talk about that later, although nothing's really set in stone. But just keep this in mind. With everything I'm going to show you in this video, there's progression. All right, so you want to practice the exercises. I'll tell you the frequency later. And just look at it as a practice. All right, and as you get better at this and you feel yourself improve, when you reach the target, which I would say a good target for the support hold is at least like 12 to 15 seconds. Like once you're there, then you can start progressing on to the next thing. All right, but remember that this is a practice and I can't tell you how many sets and how many reps and how many workouts it's going to take for you to get used to this. It just takes time and it's different from person to person. And one more thing I want to mention before we move on is that some people might experience soreness here in the forearms and even the muscles within your hands. And the reason for that is grip strength, right? You're now gripping a bar and the B bars have pretty thick bars. They're like 2-inch bars. So if you're not used to it, if you don't have the grip strength yet, then you're going to experience some soreness. Or you might feel some pain in the hands and forearms after your workouts. And if that's the case, you just want to lay off for a good day or two and let that soreness subside and heal, and then get back to it. And that'll only happen so many times, and then you'll get used to it, you'll gain the grip strength, and it won't be a problem anymore. Now, there's two different directions we can go in once you have the support hold. The first is pursuing the dip. So the next progression towards the dip is you want to get into a support hold and then do what's called dip negatives by slowly bending at the elbows and lowering your torso kind of down towards the bars and going down at least until your upper arms are parallel to the bars, and then planting your feet on the ground and standing back up, getting into a support hold and repeating for reps. Lower down as slowly as you can. I recommend building up to at least a 5-second negative, but longer is better, like 5 to 8 seconds is pretty good. And being able to do this for several reps, at least 5 reps in a set is a good target. And once you can comfortably do that and consistently, then you should be ready to move on to full-blown dips, where you lower down in a negative, not quite as slow as you were before, and then pressing back up to the starting position. You're going to feel that pressing is mainly going to come from the triceps, the lower chest, and the anterior deltoids. Also worth mentioning is that some people aren't going to be able to go from dip negatives to standard dips. They need a stepping stone, some kind of in-between progression. And if that's you, no big deal. What you can do is buy some bands and then just sort of loop a band around one side of the bars and then the other, and hold that other side with your hand. All right, hold it nice and secure so that it's not going to give way. And then you can kneel on the band, and you can use that for assistance and perform dips with a little bit of assistance. So you should automatically be able to do the dips, and that provides a stepping stone between dip negatives and standard dips. So that's how we progress to dips from the support hold. And the other direction you can go in is the L-sit. Now, I've made plenty of videos on the L-sit, but really quick, let me mention the progression. So the way you want to approach these, and remember these are phases, okay? So you're not going to learn this L-sit quickly like I'm explaining it. It's going to take many workouts, possibly several weeks, even a couple months or more. But what you want to do is first work on the tuck. That's when you get into a support hold and tuck up your knees and hold that position. Once you can do it for, I'd say, at least 10 seconds or more, start experimenting with extending one leg at a time. And once that's easy, extend both legs. Again, this is going to be a long-term goal. It's not going to happen in just a few workouts. So please keep that in mind. I know I kind of rushed through that one, but like I said, I've mentioned the L-sit and I've made an entire tutorial on that before. So I just want to throw it out there that when you have the support hold down, you have two directions to go in, dips and the L-sit. And I will put the L-sit tutorial link in the description box down below in case you want to check out a detailed tutorial. Okay, so those are two exercises to pursue for beginners above the bars, starting with the support hold. And then now let's talk about getting beneath the bars in two exercises to pursue for beginners when you're down there. Now, the first one, if you have the B bars or any height adjustable parallel bars, you want to keep them on the low setting. And the reason for that is that we'll be working on rows where you keep your feet on the floor. So what I recommend starting with and seeing if this is a good place to start is called bent leg rows. That's because you're going to get beneath the bars. You can grip the bars in a pronated grip, meaning palms facing away from you, or you can get between the bars and grip them in a neutral grip with palms facing each other. Either way is fine, whatever feels most comfortable to you and whatever is most approachable. Hold on to the bars and keep your torso about parallel to the ground with your knees bent and feet flat on the floor. And then what you're going to do is try to pull yourself up, pull your chest up towards the bars. All right, now these are bent leg rows, and they are the easiest variation of bodyweight rows, but they are too hard for some people, okay? And if that's you, don't worry about it. We will build up your pulling strength. And a way that you can do that is you can actually use your legs for assistance. So as you're doing the bent leg rows, you can press your feet into the floor and you'll actually engage muscles in your thighs and your glutes. And you will feel that your legs can assist you in pulling up towards the bars, right? You don't want to do that forever. You want to use that assistance from the legs just temporarily until you're able to build up the strength to get your first legit bent leg row without any assistance. Include the bent leg rows in your workouts until you're able to get at least 8 reps consistently, and then try straightening the legs, because that's the next progression, straight leg bodyweight rows. And what's cool about straight leg is that, for one, you cannot assist yourself by pressing with the legs, but also straightening the legs will add some resistance, making them more challenging than bent leg rows. And then in time, those straight leg rows will get to be a little too easy, right? 8 reps or more, I recommend trying the next progression. And what that next progression will be is feet elevated. So now you want to have like a stool or a chair, or I'm using the base bench here, and just prop your feet up onto something about knee height or lower and start doing bodyweight rows with your feet elevated, and you'll feel that there's a little more resistance from that. Okay, and then once those become easy, now you can start working on your tucked front lever. So what that means is you're going to get into a bodyweight row position, but you want to try to lift your legs off the floor completely and tuck them up towards your chest and just hold yourself statically in that position. Okay, and once you can hold that position statically for a good 10 or more seconds, or maybe you want to aim a little higher, like 15 or 20 seconds, then you can start trying to do rows in that position. Now here's a tip, and this is the beauty of parallel bars. If you're trying to do tucked front lever rows on a straight bar in a pronated grip fashion, your knees are going to touch the bar, right? The bar is going to get in the way of you going all the way up. So you can grip the parallel bars in a neutral grip, right? One hand on each bar and you're between them. And that way your knees can actually go above the bars. You can pull yourself up all the way. You get that same benefit on rings, by the way, another reason why I love rings. Now, there's an entire other journey of getting to your front lever, but that is really advanced, and I don't want to get into that in this video. So remember, for beginners, one of the pulling exercises beneath the bars is body weight rows and turning that into your tucked front lever, and then you can take it further from there. And the second exercise beneath the bars is the L-sit chin-up. Now, this is unique to the B-bars and any other height adjustable parallel bars, because what you want to do is raise the height of the bars to the high setting. So what you want to do is stand right in front of your bar, grip it with the chin-up grip, and then try to bring the feet up off the floor and hold a tucked bent arm hang position. And just work on holding that at least, I'd say, 5 to 10 seconds is a good point before you start straightening the legs. All right, when you start straightening the legs, now you're in a full L-sit bent arm hang. Now, one really helpful tip that I can give you when you're doing any kind of L position, whether it's a bent arm hang L-sit like this or the L-sit above the bars, is that you want to focus on these like powerful but shallow breaths. Okay, that's really going to help you because you need to breathe. It's important to breathe. But when your core is compressed, it's difficult to breathe. So you want to do these like those kinds of like shallow but powerful breaths are really going to help you in this case. Again, try to build up to about 10 seconds in that bent arm L-sit hang, and then we're going to take it to negatives. So you're going to get into that hang in the L-sit, and then you're going to just slowly lower down, kind of like we did with the dip negatives. Going as slow as you can, aim for at least 5 seconds per rep, and build up to 5 reps per set. I think that's a good target. One of the key things to focus on with negatives is trying to go as slow and smooth as possible, because that eccentric or lowering phase is what tears the muscle fibers and helps build strength. All right, so it's not something you want to just glaze over and try to get through this progression as fast as possible. Take your time with it, be slow and controlled, and you won't regret it, because once you get those negatives down, a lot of people are able to one day do a quicker negative, maybe 2-3 second negative or so, and then pull themselves up and do their first L-sit chin-up. And congrats when you get to that point, because the L-sit chin-up is a very difficult but awesome exercise that you can do on bars. All right, one of my favorite exercises, very powerful pulling exercise. But if you can't do it, if you feel like you need a stepping stone between the L-sit chin-up negatives and the legit L-sit chin-up, then don't worry, that's what bands are for. So you can wrap a band around the bar and put your feet through it and use the band for assistance, all right? Or another option is, and this is why I love the B-bars, is that although you're able to do chin-ups on them, they're low enough that you can keep your feet on the floor or one foot, and you can actually use your feet for assistance. Either way, you want to just work on that. Let most of the effort be coming from your back muscles and your shoulders as you're pulling up, and that little bit of assistance will be what you need as a stepping stone between the negatives and the legit rep. And there you go. Those are the 2 exercises I recommend pursuing for beginners when you're beneath the bars, the body weight rows and the L-sit chin-up. And hopefully those progressions are approachable for you. But I promised that I would tell you guys about programming. All right, how should you approach how many workouts should you do, what frequency, and what kind of split routine, if any. Here's what I recommend for a beginner. This seems to work best. 3 workouts per week, like Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So on non-consecutive days, you could do Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, or whatever you want, and make them full body. So I'd recommend working on, for example, your support hold and whatever dip progression you're on, or L-sit progression, and then hit body weight rows and maybe bent arm hangs, right? So you're doing a couple exercises for push, a couple exercises for pull. At least 3 sets is good, but you can go more. You can do 4 or 5, whatever you feel up to. But I'd say 3 sets is the minimum. And you want to take nice long rests because you're working on strength here. You really want to focus on strength. So I'd recommend probably resting about 2 to 3 minutes minimum between sets. 3 minutes is actually a really good amount because then you're nice and fresh for every set. So it'll be a long workout. And then at the end of that, throw in a leg exercise. Do a few sets of bodyweight squats or lunges or something so it's a full body workout. And do that 3 times a week. Now, you might see subtle improvements from workout to workout throughout the week, but really you want to look for improvements from week to week. All right, so week to week you should notice a difference and you should see gradual progression. And also worth mentioning, just so you know, None of the stuff I showed in this video, whether it's dips or L-sits or L-sit chin-ups or whatever it might be, are easy things that will come fast. Okay, and I did that on purpose. I showed you progressions because I want you to understand that you have a place to start and you treat fitness as a practice and you gradually, over time, work up to these moves. This is not something that happens in a couple weeks. You might be looking at a few months or more. All right. In fact, a complete beginner, someone who's never been athletic, is easily looking at a year of training to achieve all 4 of these exercises, like in their full form. And that's great, right? Because you want to get your money's worth when you buy these parallel bars. So keep that in mind. It isn't a race. It's like the tortoise and the hare. You want to take that slow and steady approach and build the strength over time, and you won't regret it because you'll get there, you'll be nice and strong and stable and ready to move on to bigger and better things. All right, everybody, so hopefully that was helpful for you. If you bought parallel bars, or if you haven't yet, don't forget, -10 can get you 10% off at Base Blocks for the B-bars, all right? Hopefully this video was helpful for you. If it was, please let me know in the comments down below. I love hearing from you. Make sure you hit like, too, to support me. That helps boost this video. I guess YouTube likes it. And if you haven't already, make sure you hit subscribe and stay tuned because I'm always putting out, every week I try to put out new content, whether about fitness or nutrition. All right? So I'll see you in the next one and train hard until then.